I'm going to be reading Dr. Delaney on page 175. And this is part of a series that I'm writing about family secrets. Thomas Delaney was dreaming about eggs when his house phone rang, taking him out of a deep sleep. In his dream, he was nesting inside a pretty yellow yolk, warmed by a farmhouse sunlight until the white shell was cracked open, and the light outside began to pour in along with the long wail of a telephone. Sitting up, he reached for the heavy black phone beside his bed, his fingers shaking with age as he dressed the speaker up to his ear. Delaney residence, he said, holding back a cough. He had taken to that greeting after his wife passed, wanting to keep as much of her alive inside their home as he could. Thomas, a woman sobbed through the receiver. You have to come quick, please. Who is this? Thomas asked, pushing aside his blankets and reaching for his glasses on the bedside table. It's Agatha, the woman said, her voice thick with saliva. I need you, Thomas, please. Thomas pushed his glasses over the hook of his long nose and held his breath. He hadn't spoken to Agatha in 3 years. Over the time, he began to hope that she had changed her life or at least moved out of the state, leaving him in doubt. As the years passed, he stopped thinking about her, and the yellow farmhouse, especially after Emily died. Agatha, I told you I can't help you anymore, he said, quietly, patting the crumpled sheets down. If you need help, you have to call the police. I told you I can't come out there anymore, you know that. He waited for her affirmation before he would let himself hang up, his eyes heavy with sleep. Glancing at the bedside clock, he wasn't surprised by his fatigue. He had only been asleep a few hours. The voice on the other end sniffled before inhaling enough air to speak. Tom, it's different this time. I did something. She paused, waiting to hear a reaction. Please, I need your help, she said again, her voice cracking on the last syllable. Okay, Agatha, Thomas sighed into the receiver. With trembling fingers, he placed the phone back in its cradle and reached for the bedside lamp. He began to dress himself, his hands shaking with each impossible button. At the young age of 60, he was forced to retire from his practice, making him hate science as much as his own body. He thought of it each time he dressed himself, struggling with that last button or zipper in the morning light. Thomas mapped the quickest way to Agatha's property inside his head, making the right turns and curves until he pulled into the long dirt driveway and parked behind an old Ford pickup truck. He was 57 the last time he was here, his hands just beginning to experience the tremors. The farmhouse seemed quiet in the dark, almost abandoned, despite the low lights burning inside. The yellow paint around the windows was chipped in the same spots as before, the porch light glowing like a still firefly. Making his way to the front door, Thomas stepped on a board that would always creak, giving him a sense of sadness and relief that things were still the same. He stood at the front door and coughed into his hands, stomping his feet to keep the cold out of his boots. With his coughs, a red door slowly opened, letting out some warmth from the inside. Thomas's old patient smiled at him meekly, her body wrapped in a pink terry cloth robe that reached her ankles. Her hair was all silver now, the dull mousiness of it gone with her youth. Thank you for coming, she whispered, stepping aside for the doctor to enter. Thomas nodded at her as she went into the home, taking the same dismal furniture and musky scent as before. The last time she had called him there, her husband had kicked her down the cellar stairs on a Sunday, leaving Agatha with 2 bruised ribs and a dislocated shoulder. She had waited in agony on the concrete floor until Monday morning, watching the mice come and go, counting down the hours. After her husband had left to resume his trucking routine to Missouri, hearing his boots stomp across the ceiling to the front door, Agatha crawled out of the cellar and phoned Dr. Delaney in his practice, asking him to come in the same tattered voice she used countless times before. Agatha, Thomas had said while relocating her right shoulder on the kitchen table that afternoon. You can't do this anymore. I know, she had said softly to the floor, her creased eyes squinting with pain. He's done this too many times and it's only going to get worse. You're a smart woman, Agatha. Don't let this happen again, please. I won't, she murmured to the ceiling, avoiding the doctor's concerned face. I can't keep coming out here. He swallowed, thinking over his next words carefully as he set her arm. The next time you call me, I won't be available, Agatha. This is the last time. Thomas's heart was heavy that day, the balance of guilt and frustration battling one another. At the time, he had been helping Agatha for 6 years, arriving each time she called with a new story and broken bone, his medical bag stuffed with gauze and ice packs. Over time, he knew it couldn't go on forever, and reminded himself that his duties were to his wife of 30 years, not Agatha, and began to pull himself away. Soon after Emily's diagnosis, he made the choice to focus on her, his dying wife, rather than another man's, and told Agatha that day in the kitchen, his chest tight as he spoke. Thank you.